Holy cow.
All right.
Welcome.
Well, I got a little something special for you today.
Season 2, episode 2.
That's right. We got we got a special
guest. We got a big deal today.
Yes, and it's not our special guest. Come on. Up.
Come here, baby.
Is that our special guest down there?
Goldie.
I don't know if she can get up.
Yeah, she'll come as soon as the food gets here.
There you go. Oh, there you go. All right, we got a special guest.
We got some.
First dog on the couch.
You
got your I like dogs shirt.
I like dogs. I'm moving this. That's
so we're going to do things a little differently today.
Okay.
I'm going to take you on a walk.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
We're getting up?
We are. We're getting up.
Do you know how long it took him to get in the seat here?
Hopefully.
He just had eye surgery. He could barely see what he was doing.
Well,
let's do it. Let's do it.
Are we doing that
part
right
of
from the beginning?
Okay, well, let's go.
Yeah, come on, let's go.
This is from Oklahoma Joe's.
There's Oklahoma Joe's in Kansas City.
Kansas City, Kansas, right? It's on the Kansas side.
Yes.
All right, well, I think it's...
Let me tell you. We got to see this. Yeah, all these buns are actually... The buns are local from Marconi Bakery right here on the hill in St. Louis. This is the Smoky Joe. That's pulled pork. That's brisket.
So am I making a sandwich
smoked
here?
Turkey. You are making a sandwich, and then I'm going to cut it up, and everyone's going to get a little piece of it. So you make the sandwich you think looks good. I got a little coleslaw. Got a little taste of the hill, a little mild jardinera sauce. I got some barbecue for you in there.
This is very good.
Smoky Joe's sauce? It's right there on the table for you. So make your sandwich. I'm going to take my knife. And we'll have a little go.
Excited about.
Could somebody grab me a spoon?
Wow.
Spoon. Yeah, you got to give that to him.
Well,
I know, but you don't.
No, you're fine. You can just hand me the sandwich.
What was that? Things are flying everywhere. Everything's in.
Wow.
Goldie.
Hey, excuse me. Why don't we start with the prison food?
That is a sandwich?
Couldn't even take the time to spread it out evenly on the bread.
That is not mine. Look at mine. You could tell I got a background in making sandwiches. Would you like to describe the sandwich you made
I would
for us
like
today?
that.
I'd like to get the description.
Well,
can you tell us the amount of love that went into that? Because I'm not seeing any.
Yeah. No, take us through your vision.
There were a number of meats. I wanted to try them all.
Yeah.
I didn't want to. A sandwich is very confining to what you want to put on. I was bullied by my son into had to make an actual sandwich.
That's sort of the bit.
It's three lawyers eating sandwiches.
Yeah, but we could break away.
And there was no bullying. I said, and I will quote myself. I said. No, you don't have to make a sandwich. You cannot follow the rules, which is fairly on brand, and we can make that part of the bit. But my God, you talk about, you know what I'm going to call this? I'm going to call this a protest sandwich.
You know what it is? I was going to say, that's his way of saying, don't ever ask me to make a sandwich again.
No,
that is the taste of protest right there.
Don't ever make me feel bad for not eating a sandwich in an odd situation. I don't like multiple meat sandwich.
Right, but there were five
condiments.
Options. There was no pressure to put more than one meat.
You could have spread the slices out to cover the bread.
I'm fine with just one meat. I'm just saying.
I only used one meat on the sandwich I made.
As did I.
I don't feel safe here anymore.
I think it's the sandwich.
I'm being bullied.
I think it's... Well, let's start with it.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, you know what?
Maybe I'm wrong.
It could be that the brisket at Joe's, and it very
Jen,
well
would you
is.
mind grabbing the mustard? Mustard! Okay.
It may be that the meat is so delicious, it doesn't need anything else on there. no condiments.
And I think it's a lot of nerve. I mean, it actually for
Andy to ask us to cook.
No, for Oklahoma Joe's.
No. We will not be critical of Oklahoma Joe's.
No. You got to have a lot of nerve. You have to have good barbecue to go to Kansas City and call it Oklahoma Joe's.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, I mean, listen.
Well, I suspect Joe maybe
that's the guy's name.
Has roots in Oklahoma.
Or we don't know what his. I haven't seen his birth certificate. His name could be
there's
Oklahoma.
Your
what? This is all they gave us?
Sandwich?
One packet? Here's
no.
a packet of
We
mustard.
we need more mustard. She's got more mustard. You might need it. Well, although you actually may want. I don't know if you want mustard or barbecue sauce. Dealer's choice.
I think a little mustard because this is their delicious.
Gonna need something.
Brisket.
I'm gonna try plain first.
It's good.
Now, you guys may or may not remember this, but back when Three Lawyers Eating Sandwiches was a broadcast show and not a podcast, we actually did a full episode live at Oklahoma Joe's.
Yeah. And I remember
is in a gas station.
I ate so much. I felt so terrible, but I was so satisfied. The food is really outstanding.
I thought it was the best I had had out there, and we had done another episode earlier that day, and we were physically uncomfortable, and the food was so good. But do you remember?
It was very hot that day.
I could not stop burping.
Would you mind?
And it all got captured on film.
Hand me a cup, please.
So much so that
our
producers actually put together an outtake reel at the end of that episode. It was just a cacophony, just a symphony of burps.
I think they referred to it as the gross take reel.
I didn't. They really did that? I didn't see that.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, you don't remember? It was the most disgusting. It was like he had been at. Wasn't there a scene sort of like that in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
You got in on it too.
Why?
But not at the level that I don't know, because I'm not a burper generally.
Well, let's move on.
I was that day.
We ordered too much for 3 human beings.
We were overly ambitious.
Yeah, but at this rate, our stomachs are going to catch up. I can already sense that there's going to be a lot of gas.
Yeah.
Of all the places
Excuse me.
There's not a person in this place eating like this that isn't going to belch a little bit.
You're disgusting.
Oh, and you get Ed burping in your ear.
I have not been to a better restaurant and a gas station in my life.
I don't even know. We haven't had any yet.
Excuse me.
That's about to change.
That's barbecue, baby.
That's right. That's the
That
regular.
requires a written apology.
No, I can't.
Mine was
I'm
the
having a
Z-Man.
really hard time to. And what is it? Oh boy.
It's contagious.
Excuse me.
I'm having a really.
Ooh, we were in sync. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, a burger's great, but with what they have here, oh, God.
What was that?
That was his burp.
Thank you.
Oh,
That was
God.
not a burp,
At least
that was-
mine didn't smell. My God, that may as well have come out of my behind.
From the first.
Well, the brisket, and obviously this is very simple. The key to brisket is you just have to keep cooking it until it's tender and delicious, and certainly they've done that.
Or my mother
It's a great
used to
brisket.
call it ongadamp.
It's a great brisket.
So
It's a
it
great
falls off the bone and stuff.
Great bread right here from the Hill Marconi Bakery. It's a terrible sandwich.
Now,
How you take two great ingredients and turn it into something like this. The whole is far less than the sum of its parts.
I'm no longer
You don't like your
responding
sandwich?
to criticism.
Huh?
You don't like your sandwich?
You can't even call it a sandwich. I don't know how you took those beautiful ingredients and made it what it is.
I don't
He's
know
being
how
very
I-
critical of his father.
I don't know how I raised this wonderful son.
Oh,
and this
listen,
is
there's
how I
so
did it.
many wonderful things I can say about you. Sandwich making is apparently not one of them,
No.
which I'm just surprised. Because here's the thing. Here's why I'm being so critical.
Yeah, go
Because
ahead.
there was no effort put into
There was,
making
yeah,
that sandwich.
clearly none.
Well,
And
it
yet
was-
he stood in front of the food for longer than anybody.
If I had seen you pouring your heart and soul into that sandwich, and I knew that was the best sandwich you could make, I would feel much differently.
Now,
I
this
guess-
is the one I made.
I guess
Yeah.
maybe I'd have done it different if I wasn't recovering from surgery.
Hey, listen. When you report to
Look
duty,
at that. See, that's a
there
sandwich
is an
made by
assumption
somebody
that you are
put
ready
love in
for
it.
duty.
That's an assumption for normal people.
Well, listen,
but you know me,
the show
honey,
must go
I
on.
am a guy who always.
Were you awake
is
during
there.
that surgery, or did they put
Yeah.
you under?
Why don't we talk about that?
Yeah, I want to hear about the
Yeah,
surgery.
because people are going to see probably your eyes.
Which, if you look at them close up, he looks strange today, folks.
Well, not strange. Just a man recovering from surgery, eating a little bit of barbecue.
Who's been just subject to relentless
Yeah.
criticism.
Now, this person knew what they were doing.
I've seen people after surgery make a better sandwich. Now, this sandwich I'm excited for.
Okay. It's a drippy sandwich.
As it should be when you're eating barbecue.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're wearing white,
All right, well,
I am.
That's how I like
that was
a
good.
sandwich.
That was very good.
Yeah. You could build a business around that sandwich.
Now, can we talk about Goldbelly?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what Goldbelly is, Goldbelly, I think it's a mail order service where all the great restaurants from around the country that have these signature items that you've heard about, you can go onto the site and say, I want a pastrami sandwich from the Carnegie Deli, or I want the matzo ball soup from Kenny and Ziggy's out of Houston, or the cheesecake from some fancy place in Oregon. You order it on one site. They know just how to pack it up, and they give you instructions on how to prepare it so that you get as close to the experience as possible of being there live. And I just think it's magnificent. I use them all the time. Have you ever used them before this?
I have. Yeah.
What have you used them for?
So what have I used them for?
I got some hand pies.
There was a
I love a good hand pie.
gosh, what's the name of that restaurant? There's a noodle restaurant in New York City. It'll come to me.
There's also a Three Lawyers Eating Hand Pies.
And we've used it
We
for...
ought to sue them.
What
Or
else?
we should.
There's some hand pie store in St. Louis that's
Is there
supposed
a
to be
difference between a sandwich and a hand pie?
They're nothing alike. That's the saying. Is there a difference between a cat and a tree?
good. Oh, really?
Yeah, they're nothing. They're not remotely sandwiches. They're hand pies. They're made in.
But is it when you say that, I'm not even sure I picture what a hand pie is, but we should do the hand pie place in St. Louis because I've heard great things about it.
I love
Is
the
it
hand
like,
pie.
when you say they're nothing alike, is it like pizza and flatbread or nowhere even remotely that close?
No, that pizza and flatbread are much closer than a hand pie and a sandwich.
Well, is it bread and meat?
It's a hand pie.
I understand.
Right, but what are the
is there more
ingredients of a hand
ingredients than
pie?
a
You can
filling?
make, yeah. Well, I
and
mean,
a
a filling
piece of
and
bread.
a dough-based product.
So it's like a crust,
Yeah, it's like it's like a.
and are they savory?
Yeah, they generally are savory. Yeah, they're savory. They're very big in
Here you go. Okay.
in London, in England.
I went a little bit crazy here.
Now, what is this? This is the one you prepared.
Yeah,
Tell
here's
us
what
what
I
you
got
put
on
on
here.
here.
I've got pulled pork.
Okay.
I've got coleslaw.
Yes, sir.
I've got jardinera. I've got Frank's Red Hot.
Oh, okay.
And I've got some barbecue sauce.
I didn't see the Frank's Red Hot.
You didn't need to. It's on the sandwich.
Mmm.
See how that is.
You know what? That Frank's Red Hot, nice extra touch.
I'd put a little more barbecue on it next time.
There's
But
barbecue
that's a
right
good
there.
sandwich. I can taste the jardin. Wow, that's a sophisticated sandwich.
It's a good sandwich, yeah. This is the best one so far.
Starts. I get a little bit of Frank's on the front end, finished with a little jardinera.
What is jardinera?
It's a bunch of like vegetables in like an olive oil, often spicy. I did not get the spicy one here because I didn't know. I didn't want to be
Where
presumptuous
did I just have jardinera?
in the sandwich I just gave
Well,
you.
Joya's has really good jardinera.
Oh.
They put it on their spicy daggett.
Oh, you know where I had great jardinera? On chicken? Mariposa.
What's that?
That's the restaurant in Neiman Marcus.
Oh,
They
you love
have a-
that
They
place.
still have their restaurant there?
Yeah, it
didn't
used
know
to be
that.
called the Zodiac Room. And now
Oh, they
it's
changed
called
that. That's okay.
Mariposa.
No, he and
But
Derber
let me tell you,
single-handedly
they ha-
keeping them in business.
They have a wonderful like a breaded chicken with some sort of crust on it,
Yeah.
and this jardiniere that's wonderful.
I've never eaten there all these years. I didn't even know they had a restaurant. named
Very nice
Marcus.
people. It's a very nice thing.
Now, we got one more,
This is a very good one.
and I think I'm just going to go plain here. Plain with mustard. Mustard!
Is that one more, some kind of a kielbasa in there? What is that? Sausage?
Yeah.
Been watching those cooking in there for the last hour.
Do they have multiple locations in Kansas City?
I don't think so. But you remember, they're located inside a gas station. But it's a full-size restaurant. Didn't we do another place here? That burger place. What place was
Yeah.
that, Brody? What was it called? Shelly's Smash Burgers, also in a gas station.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of good food coming out of gas stations.
Well, you know what? My understanding is, and the reason why places like Wally's and Buc-ee's exist is, I think it's gotten to a point where don't gas stations say that they don't really make any money on gas. What they make money on is all of the stuff that they're selling other than gas. So it makes some sense.
It did evolve that way. A lot of lesser-known fact, but KFC has its origins in a gas station. Colonel Sanders developed the fried chicken recipe while he was running a gas station. It would sell his chicken to people who were filling up their tanks. And it was taking so long to fry chicken, and it doesn't take that long to fill up a tank. And that's what caused Harlan Sanders to develop the pressurized cooking of the fried chicken.
Roasting and that?
No, what he did was he took a pressure cooker. Normally, a pressure cooker uses water.
Here, could you hand that?
He developed one that uses oil, first ever of its kind.
Got some mustard.
At an advanced age.
Yeah, oh yeah, he was like 62 when he started the thing. He never actually ran the franchise. What he had was the recipe. And when he closed his gas station, he actually licensed. He would go around licensing the recipe and these pressure cookers that he developed, these oil pressure cookers.
Was he a wealthy man?
He was eventually.
Prior to-
No. He was a guy working at a gas station.
Oh, so he didn't own the gas station.
No, and he killed a man.
He killed a man?
Killed a man. Look it up. Yeah, there was an altercation going on between with a rival gas station.
What?
Yeah, look it up. And in the process of
The food that built America?
of a confrontation, he wound up having to take a weapon to this man, and he put him down. Put him down like a
Wow.
like a rabid dog, as they say.
That's crazy.
And he was never charged with a crime?
It was cleared.
It was
Cleared as
self-defense. Wow.
Yeah,
How'd that affect chicken sales?
I think it was good for chicken sales. Yeah, it was early on. It was before like people would have really
I'll tell
known
you
much
this,
about
they were
that.
good at keeping it under wraps.
Is that back when the any press is good press mentality?
I think so,
Okay.
probably. But you
No,
know, listen,
no,
what can you
he-
do? I mean,
he
if
buried
anything,
it.
you feel for the guy. I mean, you know, he didn't want to. He didn't
I'm
wake up
really
that
good.
morning wanting to kill someone. What exactly? What would they call this on their menu? Just sausage?
We'd have to get one of our productions assistants.
Oh,
to
my.
listen. Yeah, that's great. So simple. So good.
Those are the good flavors.
I enjoyed this DIY.
This has got some spice to it. That's a spicy sausage.
Ooh.
Was he I guess one of those honorary Kentucky colonels?
Which
What does that even mean?
it's just a title of respect. It's almost like if you were in England and they made you a lord or a sir. In Kentucky, they can make you an honorary colonel.
A lot of people
He
had
loved
him.
it.
A lot of people had him.
He loved it.
Why
But
don't
you know-
why don't we see if we can get it?
You know what's crazy? You know who arguably was the real genius behind the franchise of KFC? The person who came up with some of their biggest ideas, like the bucket of chicken, which changed their
Yeah.
business, was Dave Thomas, who would
Of
eventually,
Wendy's?
he would leave
Huh.
KFC and start Wendy's, which he named after his daughter.
How do you become a Kentucky colonel?
But I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
The Honorable
it's-
Order of Kentucky Colonels. How to become a colonel.
There are people that have, and what happened to Brody? Who was the guy?
Oh, wow. It goes through the office of the governor.
Yeah. Oh, it's a big deal.
Oh, it's it's not.
That's it. Houseman
It's
and
not
sausage.
like becoming a reverend.
No, it's listen, if everybody could become a Kentucky colonel, we'd all be Kentucky colonels.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, now, but I want to know, who is the executive that worked at McDonald's that got stolen by Burger King, and he really catapulted Burger King at that point? Don something or other? But that's what goes on in these businesses.
Greg, what's his name? In Louisville?
Greg Bubalo?
Yeah, you think he's a Kentucky colonel?
He's not, but
Because if he were, you would know it.
You think?
Yeah.
'Cause I think people that go do it actually go take the colonel.
If
Donald Smith, that's who it was.
Wait,
he would ask to be called Colonel Bubalo.
what about
If I were a colonel, you'd know it.
John,
Well, the governor
John
of
Y.
Kentucky,
Brown?
isn't the governor of Kentucky?
Andy Bashir.
Yeah, so that's a Democrat right now. This might be our best chance. What do you think?
I'd like to be called colonel instead of PFC,
Yeah, I mean,
which I'm now.
Yeah, you
called.
don't want
I
to
think
go
it's a
around the
bigger
whole
donation than you would want to make.
donation. And then then you got to bribe them for it. I don't want to. I don't want
Remember
a title
John
like
Y.
that.
Brown?
Who?
John Y. Brown.
Uh-uh.
He was the governor of Kentucky,
I remember Y.Y. Lee.
and he was a big deal with Kentucky Fried Chicken. And he married Phyllis George, Miss America.
Yeah.
And now his daughter is a big deal on CNN. Real beautiful blonde.
What's her name?
I don't know. But she's a big deal at CNN. Very pretty girl.
You know who we're going to have on the show? We have a lot of guests coming up. Not today.
Really?
We do.
We do have a lot of guests. We've been booking guests left and right. And you know who reached out to us, who's interested in coming on and doing an episode with us?
Oh.
Iggy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that'd be
told him
great.
absolutely. Especially if it'll help us bring over that TMA audience. Because I know they've all been clamoring to find out what's he doing, where's he been, what's the next chapter in his
So
life.
we got an exclusive.
We do, and on top of that, I'm sure that if we have him on, he will tell the story of how he had intimate relations with Leona Helmsley.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that? Oh, that's one of his great conquests and a great story that goes behind that. But
He is a fascinating man.
he has lived some life, and we're going to have him on, and we're gonna get to the bottom of that. You're going to hear some things that you won't be able to unhear. But it'll all be worth it, and I think.
Could you hand me another top? Oh, you know who else we're having? Ricky Mengele.
Is he the UFO guy?
No, he's the son of Dr. Mengele that fled to South America.
Yeah, but don't tease us like that. We only wish we were.
And he really, he's written a book about his dad, and, what a great dad he was.
Yeah, Dad and Me.
I don't know why I named him Ricky, though.
It's a
It
cute
just
name for
doesn't
a
give
kid.
you gravity when your last name's Mengele.
You have a lot of drippings.
I know, that's why I told you.
Well, I mean, I ate the same thing you did. I don't have any drippings.
Ed, you're a very different human being.
I got to tell you this, and I shouldn't be surprised. Insurance companies are, the way they are handling these tornado claims is more despicable than I could even
What have you observed?
predicted.
Because you're on the other side of this one. He's in the mix.
Disgusting. It is predatory. Why we as a society put up with this, I don't know. I mean, I'll just give you now I have been able to resolve this, but I'm not sure I could have done that had I not been a person who A, could afford to wait out the claim, and B, been a person who owns one of the largest law firms in the Midwest.
Guys, you think people remember that we're not just guys eating sandwiches, but we're actually a law firm that handles injury cases?
You think the podcast has gotten so big, they forgot about our roots.
Have they forgotten about this man, 45 years on the television, telling people that we don't get paid unless you get paid? Do you think they know that?
Tell them.
We don't get paid if you don't get paid.
There you go. You've been hurt? Call us. Now back to the podcast.
Without those things, I don't know how these things would have ended up. But so the first thing is windshield on the car and broken out. I talk to them. I get an estimate. I send it in. They lose it. They close out my claim. They tell them, why was it closed out? Oh, just too long. When there's long periods of inactivity, we close out the claims. You mean yesterday when I talked to you, that was a long time, 24 hours? Oh, big mistake. Sorry. Oh, reopen it. Okay, we'll pay you $600. What do you mean? 2 different adjusters said this is fine. Go get it fixed. No problem. Sorry, sir. We saw some rock chips, some chips on the windshield already. So we're going to pay $600. I was like, it went through a tornado. Of course there are other chips on the windshield. Well, that's it. And they're like, I'm sorry, I don't have any authority. And that's a problem. Everybody hides behind, nobody has any authority. Well, who can I speak to? You can't speak to them. So basically, the only people who have authority are people you cannot speak to. And the only people you speak to have no authority and just say, that's how it is. So that's one car. Other car, totaled. They offer me an amount of money. And they send you this whole report from a third party. My car is being compared to 5 other cars. The other cars they're the same make, model, and year. The other cars my car had about 12,000 miles. The other cars had 20,000 more miles, and they paid me $3,000 less. I said, well, why? Well, because of the condition of your car. Well, it went through a tornado, so comparing it to a car on a dealer showroom is a little bit unfair. Sorry, sir. I don't have any authority. And then I'm looking at the report they send me, like a 25-page report. My car has $250 added for being in better condition, right, than expected for the car. The cars they're comparing it to have $2,000 or $3,000 deducted for condition. My car has 12,000 miles, gets no added number
benefit,
for mileage,
sure.
Right? Their cars have 20,000 more miles and got $3,000 deductions for condition, $2,000 or $3,000 additions for low mileage. Like in their report, and they're like, sorry, sir, that's the report. The report says your car's worth this. I was like, yeah, but your report is saying that my car has lower miles and in better condition. So what's the deal? Sorry, sir, the condition. And
so
that's
what'd you do?
Well, ultimately, I was able to get in touch with somebody who, and I can't tell now yet if it was just luck, because it was very strange. I mean, I threatened to sue him a bunch of times, and finally I got a call from someone who said it was just a random call. She just randomly picked up my file and saw that there were some discrepancies, and who knows? But in a 10-minute phone call, it was resolved.
Yeah,
I suspect they had
fishy going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure anytime somebody says they're going to sue you, there's something triggered, and I'm sure when they find out that you own a law firm, well, it's just, and then, and I have not, in fairness, had a chance to look through this. I just got this, a notification that they are paying me about $1,200 for all the damage to my house. I would say there is at least $30,000 worth of damage to my house.
So they would appear to have come in low.
I mean, there are like multiple massive holes in my roof. There are the whole side of my garage. The roof is
and they said
just collapsed.
1,200.
$1,200.
I mean, that's not even going to fix a mailbox.
No, it's and now again. Maybe I'm missing something here. I'm just not giving them the benefit of the doubt.
How can you?
After what's happened, but
they haven't earned any benefit of any
so
doubt.
remember the position that we are all in these situations. And some of these adjusters are in Kansas City. They know who we are, and they know we will sue them, and they know we will litigate. And I think that's ultimately why it changed. I can't be sure, but that's my suspicion. But now imagine you are somebody who doesn't own a law firm, who is powerless, and is just somebody who also can't wait a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. They need a car.
We see this for years. They systematically take advantage of desperate people to save themselves money.
It is worse than I even anticipated.
Desperate people settled
Of course.
It is, and really, the only way to get justice is to have a lawyer. And it makes sense. A lot of people kind of say, oh, yeah, of course you're a lawyer, you're going to say that. But I think what people don't realize is there are only two ways these claims get resolved, either through a settlement or through trial. Now, you go to the insurance company and they know that your biggest weapon in your arsenal going to trial you don't have because you're not an attorney. Why would they offer you money? They know you cannot hold their feet to the fire and get, it's either you accept what they offer you or you don't. You don't have any way to fight that.
And that's why if I was running for office, my two big issues would be, because these are things that are real problems in America, real problems. One, insurance companies and their rampant denials and fraud and all of the systems they get to screw the American people. American people pay money in. The second they go to make any kind of claim, they can't get anything back. And this is every kind of claim, whether it's your house, your car, your health insurance. The insurance industry is corrupt. That would be my number one priority. And my number two priority would be scams. The number of cyber scams going on, the hackers, the phone phishing scams, people trying to get you to give them credit card information, paying for things. And now with AI, the scams are on a whole other level, and people have to be careful. Let me tell you, I got this new app on my phone. It's called Speechify. You would love it. I like audiobooks. Like, I want to listen to a book. What Speechify allows you to do is you can import books from any of the other sources, Kindle, you could scan documents in. You read one sentence in your voice, and it records it. And it will read. It will then read the books. Like, I listen to books now in my own voice, reading the books to me.
Why would you want that?
I believe that when you're reading to yourself,
it's closer to reading.
I think when you're reading to yourself, you're reading in your own voice, and your brain is listening to it and processing it.
Never heard of that.
I haven't either.
I think if you could recreate that, you'd do better.
As you say it, it's an interesting proposition.
Well,
I'm just not sure I'd want it.
It's
I don't know.
It depends on if you like the sound of your speaking voice, but you don't have to pick your own voice. Like, I can pick Barack Obama, and he could read me all of my books, and I've done that, and it's a very soothing voice.
Yeah. Or for your kids, that might, like, you're out of town.
You can read it. I had Brody put his voice in, and I thought that was hysterical, listening to him read these books to me. But it's also very scary, because I'm listening to it and I'm thinking, it only recorded my voice for one sentence.
Terrifying.
And now it is reading book after book in a voice that if I listened to it, I would immediately say, well, that's me, but I never recorded that.
Right.
That's my voice, but I never said those things. It's that good.
It is. It's crazy.
And so that's,
I haven't used that app, but I've heard these speech things.
And it's like everything that we come up with, there are two camps out there that are going to figure out how to make money on it, and it's the porn camp and the scam camp. Every bit of new technology, there are people out there saying, how can we use this technology for better porn? How can we use this technology to rip people off?
Well, listen, the adult film industry is the only reason the internet exists the way it does today. I mean, that's all the industry, the internet was in the early days. They formed the basis of YouTube. I mean, that's where all the technology came from.
Let me just say, why are we wasting time with these people? Let's get into porn and...
because I think it's a crowded
porn. I don't think they want me.
It's a crowded space now.
We spend all this time.
It's a very crowded space.
Let's
I will
make
say
some
this.
money.
Your first policy in your platform, I think, is very doable. With the scams, I think it is very, very difficult to fight that. I remember years ago when I worked at a record company. I didn't work at Sony Music, but at the time, Sony Music put like $10 or $20 million and 2 years of research into creating a CD that you could not copy. And they were, announced it, and it was this big thing because piracy was a big deal back then. This was pre-Napster and when you could download. They start making CDs 1 hour into the release. Some person takes a black pen, draws around the center clear circle of the CD, circumvents their whole thing. It was over.
It's
the thing
hard.
is hackers and people. You're like, what does Sony have? Let's say they put $10 million and 30 people. You are fighting unlimited money and unlimited people throughout the world with scams who are laser focused on scamming people. That's a very hard battle to fight.
But I'll tell you, when you could first just download any song you wanted.
Oh my
Isn't that
God.
the greatest
Free.
thing in the world?
Except it
was-
took overnight to download 2 songs.
Yeah, it was, and I didn't use Napster a lot. I used LimeWire. Remember LimeWire?
Yeah, of course.
What did
and
we
Bear
use?
Share.
What did we
Napster
use?
was
no Audio Galaxy.
Audio Galaxy, Bear Share, Napster.
But let me tell you, that was I
Pirate-
had more
what was it?
fun.
It was
you
the
know when
best.
you could make
Pirate Bay, Pirate Hub.
when it got better, so you could sit down and in one afternoon you could make a CD.
Oh, it was
that
great.
was the greatest CD.
Yeah,
It
the
was
best.
every
And you know what was
favorite
amazing?
song.
Although-
They were smart because it wasn't really about doing it for free. It was really about the convenience of just streaming your music and downloading it, because when Apple first started and they were charging $1 a song, they did great. I didn't mind paying $1 a song. I would have paid $1 a song on LimeWire or Napster, but that wasn't an option. I just wanted it on my device so I didn't have to go out and buy
You know
records.
what's amazing about where music is today? It really is all because either, I don't remember if it was 1 kid or 2 kid, locked themselves into their college dorm room and for about 48 hours just made Napster. And that changed the world, in a way. I mean, think about everything that came from Napster, being able to download music and
then eventually movies. I mean, really, you
It's
could credit
unbelievable.
them with that as well.
for sure.
Well, I'll
It's
tell you
really
something
remarkable.
about downloading. You guys are going to be very excited.
Yeah.
I have in my office my entire video, well, it's movies, of my senior year of high school football.
What?
Seriously?
Yeah, would you like to see
Oh my
it?
God.
Wait.
We got Jen, social
Yeah,
media.
wait a minute.
Watching Terry playing football in high school?
1963. Yeah.
Wait, where did you get this?
A friend of mine, I had lunch with a guy that went to high school, and he handed me a little hard drive, and he said, "Here's the video of our high school."
Where do you
senior."
get it?
That's amazing.
From the coach. You know, they would film all the games.
No, I know. I'm not
And
surprised they
they're-
filmed
and
it. I'm
they're-
surprised they
and
kept it.
They're
survived,
edited. Yes, I've got it down there.
Huh.
Yeah.
And you were a good player.
I was
you
quite
were
a
good
little
athlete.
man back then. Huh?
Yeah, what position did you start at in your
I
senior
was
year?
a defensive tackle. Yeah, I played defense.
A defensive tackle. I
Yeah.
can see that.
He was the center.
John was a center?
Yeah,
I was a center.
I saw,
And you
I saw
know-
Fred the other day. I
We
caught
did
up with
too.
him
So
for a
did
little
we.
while.
So did we.
Did he mention that I
I
caught
think
up with him?
He did.
may have.
Yeah, he
and there
did.
was, what did he say?
And at the end of the conversation, I said, "What do you make?" He does artificial
Prosthetics.
limbs.
Oh.
And he said, "I got a bunch of artificial hands in my trunk." I said, "Well, get out of here and bring them in." And he brought them in. And
Here, we'll
they're-
play.
Oh yeah, we have a video. of it.
What, just a bunch of artificial hands?
Well,
Yeah,
I
but,
only
you know,
have a video
opening-
of me operating one of them.
Are they all robotic? Are they really advanced? Or
Yeah.
You know,
he said
Or are
this
they just
thing's-
like the
not as-
kind that Chubbs had in Happy Gilmore?
You know what? They're not.
Wooden fingers.
They're not as good as you would think. In other words, they're far from having the movie kind of.
Like you couldn't stick your middle finger up and give somebody
Well,
the
then
finger.
what's the
Well,
point
you
of
might,
even
well, the
having a
point
hand?
is-
you might be able to.
No, I asked him. I tried. No, I think the point is, although what Fred said was interesting, I'll find the video and I'll give it to Steve and we'll show it. And he works in prosthetics. I mean, he knows this stuff.
Yeah.
He said functionally, if faced with it, and it was only a functional decision, he said he would take a hook over an
Yeah.
artificial hand.
And he shouldn't let that out too much. I mean, that's his whole
Right.
business. is
No,
selling
no,
his
because
hand.
remember,
he said there's
it's
more,
more than just-
useful to have a hook than to have an artificial hand.
But
It seems more dangerous.
that's what Terry said. I bet they aren't as sharp as they are in the
Yeah,
in the
I
pictures.
think they're just pointy, but they're not needle.
I don't even know if they're pointy because there's
Well,
no
they
need.
got to be a. Well, yeah, maybe.
If
mean, they
I
can just be
if
like-
I needed a hook, I think I would.
I got a guy.
I would go full pirate.
I
I think at that point I would do the eye patch.
if
maybe a
especially-
the
bandana
hand is
on
really
my
cool
head.
though
If
because
it was your left hand,
Yeah.
I would get a hook for sure.
You think left hand
Well,
hook.
because your left hand you can kind of do. You got your right hand.
You still could do stuff.
Yeah, you do a lot of stuff.
Well, but I think it's also aesthetically. Although the hand looks very cool.
But
and what happens is they hook these things up and they just kind of feel the muscles and tendons, I guess, moving in your hand. So you go like that and it opens, go like that and it closes.
Yeah.
And
I feel like we could be much more advanced by this point. I feel like we've diverted a lot of our attention to things that
another
are
thing he
meaningless.
said.
We should spend more time on those.
well, I think it's a very, very complex thing
I know,
to do.
but
In
why are we
fact,
trying to go to Mars? Why don't we fix people that have missing limbs first? Because that seems more important.
Yeah.
And then if we get limbs that are working correctly, maybe you get a paralyzed person back on their feet, literally, then we can worry about Mars.
That's if
You know
we
what's
lived
actually-
in a society that really
gave a crap.
made smart decisions.
Here's what's worse. Something along
people
those
in
lines. Mr. Beast did a video, and it sounded like it was all true, so I'm going to take this as truth. He said that 50% of the world's blindness is caused by, I believe, cataracts or some eye condition like that.
That's correctable.
$2,500 surgery could cure 50% of the blindness in the world.
In the world, not in this country.
In the world.
Yeah.
But imagine that. 50% of the people who are blind in the whole world, all that stands between them and seeing is $2,500. To me, that is so disgusting that in this world there is one person who, I feel like there are enough wealthy people. If everyone just sponsored a $2,500 surgery,
let me say
half
this.
of the people
if
in the
we
world
can
who are
get something
blind.
going, I will go in for one person surgery. And
Okay.
let's start will you go in for one person surgery? You'll go in for one person?
I would love to.
Listen.
Wait, half the people.
It was something like that. Half of the people
but
who
in
are
the world,
blind.
because you got to realize when you
I
get to the
see.
third
Now,
world,
all the
cataracts,
people with whatever that condition is could be fixed.
That's right.
But
not
you're
half of
saying half of
blindness.
all blindness.
No.
No,
Like
all
you could,
blindness.
because Stevie Wonder's got $2,500.
No. But you're saying
So it's not
But my
something like
guess
that.
is
It's
that
it's a
You're saying
specific.
half of all blindness could
Have
be
this-
cured
could be fixed
if
with
they could get
cataract
this.
surgery.
Well, that's it. Mr. Beast does it. But
that's true. But Mr. Beast
You
is
know
the
what, though?
youngest
I'll bet you if you
self-made
really-
billionaire.
I
right
bet
now.
you if you looked into it, there is a lot of stuff like that.
there probably is. And
you know.
here's also the problem is, while it may be a $2,500 surgery, this may be somebody living
Right.
in a place
Yeah, you
Right.
get-
And that's
in
what I think it
Africa
mostly is.
that-
That's why I
that
said not in America.
isn't even accessible. Although I bet there are people in
There
America.
probably are some, but I'm guessing that the
But
other
still-
nations
know.
are bringing that
But
average
still,
up. Yeah.
You know, we
Listen,
just live
I
in a
didn't.
world where
I'm happy to fix the blindness, whether they're living in this country or living in the middle of the Sudan. What do I care? It's a human being that can't see. If I could fix them for $2,500,
just maybe easier to get to the person here.
Well,
But
I'm not performing the surgery. I'm just cutting a check.
I think there are like doctors
Venmo it.
Doctors Without Borders that probably go and do these surgeries. And I think it's a very fast surgery.
you know, I'll
get more info.
a
very
lot of
fast.
doctors, and
Yeah.
again, when I say a lot, a few.
Yeah.
I don't know that many doctors that well.
And the ones you know, only half of them will talk to you anyway.
But no, I've asked them. Do you do? Because I always think, if I was a retired doctor,
Yeah.
I would want to do Doctors Without Borders.
Then you wouldn't be retired. You'd still be practicing medicine.
Okay, but
I think
I'd do something like
Yeah.
that because I feel their training is
What
so
about Lawyers
precious.
Without Borders? You can do that now.
Does that exist?
No,
Put it down. We'll start
There
it.
you go.
Right after we
Anyway,
start this
so
blind business.
what's the deal?
no. The deal is that
They don't do
none
it.
of them. They're so happy to be retired. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't have any interest in doing anything.
Well, I think they're also, Doctors Without Borders.
They work their ass.
But I
Yeah.
think they are. I think that's a young man's game because I think they are going
travel.
into conditions in third world
Yeah.
countries.
No, I agree.
That you don't want to be 75 years old, sleeping in mud. Or maybe you do.
Well, I can't. I would not.
I don't.
But he would know. When you were 75, would you have wanted to sleep in mud?
Yeah, but at 76, I totally
Yeah,
get
Give it up.
You
So
got
can
it
get
out of
one
the
good,
system.
You get one good year out of it.
Where did that place? What's the place? Esalen. Don't they have a big mud bath?
No.
Where's that?
A mud bath?
Have you done a mud bath?
In Calistoga.
You've done it.
Really? You of all people?
Have I?
I've
Well,
never done
you
a
know,
mud bath.
I think in the Dead Sea.
You've done them. I would assume you've done them.
Am I
You're
right?
a big bath
in
guy.
the Dead Sea part of that? Yeah. Is putting the mud on you.
They spread mud on you, but it's not like
No, it's
in
not a mud bath.
Calistoga, California.
Okay.
And I guess other places. It's this, a room you're in with these big stone tubs.
Yeah.
And they're filled with very hot mud. It's volcanic mud, they say. And you get in, and it's
it sounds
very
so
dense. You have to
you
wiggle
do you
and,
get
and
in?
dig in.
Are you naked?
Yes, of course.
Oh yeah.
No, but like fully balls out.
Yeah, naked.
Okay. Do
And-
they replace the mud in between people?
You know what? I've never
No.
asked them because
No,
but I think
don't
that
replace the mud.
mud is
Mud
at
is
like
self-cleansing.
108 degrees.
Self-cleansing.
Yeah, self-cleansing.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
soap.
108 degrees. Nothing lasts in that stuff. So you get in and you wiggle down and you dig
I
under.
think if somebody took a crap in there, it would last. It would still be there when the next person got
Well,
in.
I mean, I think it would be very difficult
Remember,
to do.
it's mud.
Yeah.
You wouldn't
What do you think
know if
mud
somebody
is?
took a crap in it. I mean, I never thought about it. But it's intense, and it gets to all your joints.
And what does it
'cause
do?
you're-
Does it
It's
reduce
heat.
inflammation?
Yeah, it's like taking, you
like a bath
You ever taken
and
a
then
hot
some.
bath
I've
when you
taken a
have,
hot bath.
when you have
It's-
aches and pains?
Oh,
It makes you
my
feel
God.
better.
Nothing. I
And then
took a hot
you
bath
get
last
out,
night.
and in your same room is a big hot tub. You jump in first of all, you have hoses, and you wash yourself all the mud off, which is hard to get off. There's a lot of mud. You're fully, and then you get in a hot tub, and then you have a massage. I mean, it's a very relaxing.
My God. And
process.
when are you done? 4 days later? This sounds like the longest procedure.
No, first of all, you're in the mud about 10 minutes. It's so hot, you
Yeah.
can't take it for more than that.
You know,
But it really makes your joints feel good.
I should do that. Where's Calistoga?
It's a little
Northern?
bit, it's a little drive from wine country
Okay, so Northern
in
California.
Napa.
Yeah.
And what
You
about a
ever been to
polar
Napa?
plunge? I have not been
No,
to Napa.
polar
Do you
plunge.
do a
What's
polar
so
plunge?
dumb?
They say that that's good for inflammation
I have
too.
done it, but I don't like it.
I don't tolerate the cold well.
Well,
hey,
that's
I got a
true.
challenge for you. It just came to my
All
mind.
right. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
let's hear it.
I'm thinking Ed Herman
Okay.
goes to Italy
Oh, my.
in September.
This September?
Yeah, this September.
It's a very tight schedule this September.
This October.
Oh, that's even tighter.
What, do you
You
have
know when
any
things
de-
lighten up? Middle of November.
Do you have any?
I don't think the weather's
do you have any
September's when you want to
desire
be there.
Go any place?
Oh, yes, he does.
Yeah, I think, you know what it is? I think I would be very happy once I'm there. Most travel, and I mean, this is probably true of a lot of people. I know that once I'm there, I'm going to enjoy myself because I like to explore new places and
Right.
see things I haven't seen before. I do not enjoy the process of travel.
Which part?
Going to the airport, walking around, waiting for them
You-
to
you know
board you.
what
They're
you- you know what-
hurting you like
you know what's
cattle.
interesting?
You get
ought to
on,
do-
it takes
You know
forever.
what you ought to do? Go with somebody first of all, not alone, which
Yeah.
you would,
Typically.
and get on the plane, and then get a prescription for something like Xanax. Once you get on the plane,
Wait, this isn't that kind of show.
no,
I just
you
knocked myself
take a
out.
Xanax. You sleep.
don't need your,
until you
pill
get,
pushing
no,
here.
until you get there.
Listen, I think he's making
I got a better idea
and
for you.
that, and then you're there.
Yeah.
You know, there is, and I don't know what it
And
is.
I-
Steph,
Do you like animals?
I love animals.
Well, then
love
you know where you ought to go.
safari.
Go to, like we did, go to South Africa and go on those safaris. You will be the happiest human being in the world.
Nah, go eat some pasta in Italy first.
I think both trips
But
sound delightful.
here's how
I
you
think
do
they're
it.
not mutually exclusive.
You pay the money and you go business class.
I'm always on Southwest.
Not
don't
to,
need- they don't
not
even
to
have first
Rome. Southwest doesn't go to Rome.
What?
Southwest doesn't go to Italy.
I have no idea. I've not been
They
to
fly
Europe.
throughout the Southwest.
I've lived a very sheltered life.
Pay for the business class. It mostly reclines. You'll sleep, and you'll deal with it. You've done unpleasant things for 7
Remember,
hours
it's
before.
My whole everything's unpleasant.
It's 24 hours and you're there.
Yeah.
And it's 24 hours and you're back. I mean,
What's the best place you've ever gone to?
I think South Africa, the animals, I love that.
Yeah. What's the best place you've ever gone to?
Man,
Place where you were like, it really just blew your mind. Like, this is really something. This is something.
I think places in Asia. Although what I really think is, I've never been to Vietnam or Thailand. I think those would be jump to the front of the line pretty quickly.
Lucy
Tokyo's a pretty remarkable city.
Lucy loves it.
Yeah.
Vietnam. Yeah, you know what she loved? Laos.
Yeah.
She talks about that all
Really?
the time.
What made it so special?
Am I correct that Laotians are not allowed to travel into this country under the new travel ban?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I read the list.
what is with that?
It's-
What is it? A dozen
We're
countries?
not getting no. Yeah. We're not. I don't want to dip back into politics. We ruined the last episode with politics. But yes, there's a travel ban. A
it's
number of people
unavoidable.
can't come here, and
Unavoidable.
it is what it is. Italy in September. What are you so busy in September doing already?
Work. All the conferences start.
I don't
start
think you
picking
want to
up
go in
again.
November.
No. What conferences are in September?
We've got conferences.
You got a week in September. I know you do. I'll walk
look.
through your
But
schedule.
what would you like to see? What you talk about?
Well, I've talked about going to London and doing like the West End, like I would do a Broadway trip.
You'd
and I
love
would
to
do
do
a
the
West End trip.
theater
I think
tour
that
in
would be a
London.
good trip for me.
and the
I think
languages,
Italy would be
the
beautiful.
language
Although-
make it.
I mean,
Italy,
listen,
the
London.
food, the
London's a
sights.
great city, but it's
I
so.
think I would enjoy Paris for the art. I'm
Yeah.
very like the art, big art guy, museums.
There's
what
plenty
have
of
you.
that
Big art
in
guy.
Italy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think you do. I think you start with like Italy, France.
Africa.
Yeah, they hit the big
Spain.
ones.
He would have the best
He
time
would,
in
but
Africa.
that's a separate trip. You're not doing a
Yeah, you can't
safari
do those
and
together.
a pasta tour.
Yeah, I got to plan something. I don't know.
Yeah, this is the challenge. For next episode, let's talk about where you're. Let's make some progress.
make some travel
Let's move the
plans.
ball forward.
What else is going on? You this is our second episode of the second season.
Much better than the first already.
Yeah, although still not a great one.
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, still sort of mid.
Well, let's kick it up a notch.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping for.
We should get cream pies. And when things slow down,
you just
Oh, did
But
I
not
tell
to
you about
me.
my idea for a restaurant?
no, I don't think.
So you have a restaurant and it's built out so that it is designed to just everything be
Oh,
hosed
you did
down.
tell me. You did.
And hosed down, cleaned out instantly.
It's food fight.
And food fight. That's the restaurant.
Yeah,
You dress appropriately. You give people smocks. All the food you serve is sort of soft, so you're not going to get hurt. You don't use utensils. And about 20 minutes into the meal, you eat a little bit, and then somebody in the restaurant is responsible for standing up and yelling "food fight." Everybody starts throwing food. Then maybe dessert comes. Maybe another food fight. Great time. Now, I don't think here
A lot of,
I
a lot
don't
of-
think it's a great
a
look
lot
because
of women
wasting
would not want to do that.
Yeah, a lot
Oh,
of the
that's
wasting the food.
nuts.
But let me suggest this to you as an
Jen,
as an
you
adaptation.
eating at food fight?
She ain't going there.
There you go.
She ain't going there. But let me ask you this: what if instead of like they have the escape rooms,
Shower cap.
and axe throwing and all that, what about pillow fights?
You know,
I mean,
there-
as corporate building, you
know,
get really soft pillows.
there's
Hold on.
Pillow fight league.
Yeah, but have it like these places. You do it just like the escape rooms. People plan outings there, and they go in and they get all of it out of their system. And as corporate, you know that everyone in a corporate situation has people they'd love to hit. In a pillow fight environment, you'd be allowed to get that out of your system. You inspired this.
I'm telling you, I've seen it on ESPN.
They have some of the
Would
dumbest.
you participate?
They have some of the dumbest sports. I saw one that it's some league where you throw a football onto a roof and have to catch it when it rolls down off the roof.
Crazy. Oh,
Well, that's a fun activity.
when you're
It
talking
is, but this was a league.
That's
It was
crazy.
when
on.
you're talking about restaurants, odd restaurants, we were in Spain, I think, and went to a blind restaurant
Okay.
where all the waiters are blind,
And he cured them all for $2,500
and they
each.
take you into this.
Half of them.
Wait, they're legitimately blind?
That's what they say.
You know what? That makes sense because they're probably
It's a great job.
but also if you take people who aren't blind and are trying to serve in that capacity, they're lost. They don't know
Right.
how
I
to
don't
deal with not
understand.
being
So
able to
You
see.
go into this room, you go to this restaurant.
Yes.
They have thick, like shades, and they lead you in
So it's pitch black.
pitch black. You can see nothing, and they
never
walk
eat
you
there.
into the table, and they seat you, and then they serve you. They don't tell you. I think you can order. I'm not sure, and that's the evening. It's really fascinating.
It does sound fascinating. It also sounds like you could be taken advantage of wildly in a place like that.
Like, what do you think's going to happen?
You know, you get a bunch of hooligan waiters that are going to, put their asses in your face because you can't see anything.
Say this. Let's assume you avoid the places with the hooligan waiters.
I know that you think I'm exaggerating, but on the television show Mystery Diner, there was an episode where one of the places did just what you're suggesting. They blindfolded all of the customers.
Yes.
And they were suspecting that the waiters were up to hijinks, and they were. Waiters would go around drinking their customers' wines.
You know what?
Playing a little F around.
Could that happen? Yes. Is it something I worry about? Not at all. I'm just saying it's a fascinating, you eat with your hands.
Yeah.
And it makes it a really different experience.
What are they serving you that you're eating with your hands?
I don't remember.
Fried chicken?
It was either that or some sort of meat. I don't recall. I mean, you get your hands a little messed up, but it's just a fascinating.
Well, remember years ago when we went to the Dolly Stampede out in Branson, which used to be the Dixie Stampede. Yeah. Now it's the Dolly Stampede. You didn't come with us. You were mad at Terry. You guys were fighting.
Yes,
I've been.
You were fighting. You skipped. Terry and I went together to it.
In fairness, I probably would have skipped either way.
Everyone thought we were a couple, which was hysterical. And we went in.
We were making out.
Yeah, that's it. We didn't do ourselves.
Were you calling him Colonel?
I called him Colonel. He called me Pepe, and it was cute. And they served us food, but you remember there were no utensils. Everything they served us.
And it was good.
It was good food.
Yeah, it was. You know what it was? Somebody just asked me about it. Maybe you guys did. It was a rock Cornish hen.
It was a Cornish hen.
Which you can't. Have you had a rock Cornish hen?
Can't have them anymore.
I just confirmed my homeowner's claim closed out. $1,200.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it is so unbelievable for the amount of damage we had in our home. And let me say this. We were so lucky compared to so many people. But the cover on my hot tub alone is $800. And that's almost an afterthought. It is so unbelievable that they would not just
because
pay
they're
it.
corrupt.
You know what's interesting?
Case closed.
But you know
what's
fascinating?
Yeah. Is I'm going to sue their ass.
We should sue everybody.
Wish there was a group of people that formed a profession that went after people that tried to screw you like this and helped you get what you were entitled to.
You know what?
Wouldn't that be something? I wonder I don't know. Maybe we should start it. What would we call this profession?
Maybe Brown and Crouppen.
Crouppen. That sounds nice. Did you see my hat? Brown and Crouppen. Yes. People, and what would they do? I mean,
you know what the thing is? The insurance companies could put us out of business tomorrow, easily, and not by overpaying.
By treating people fairly,
and even like 75% of fairly, 50% of fairly, and we'd almost be out of business. It is so inconceivable that they are allowed.
What do you mean we?
We what?
We would. What do you mean we? You mean there could be a profession,
Wow, he's ruining this episode too.
A group of people that make insurance companies treat you fairly. What a great idea. I wish that existed.
Man, I can't wait to call State Farm. So where do you think? Italy, you think that's probably going to be it?
I don't 22, know. We'll see, maybe.
22.
Okay.
I could tell you, well, man, the craziness at my Bird Buddy. This was the greatest thing I ever bought. For anybody that does not bought one of these yet, look them up, Bird Buddies.
Well, give the quick description.
Well, they are bird feeders that have a built-in camera and a solar charger, and you put seed in it, and throughout the day, as different birds come to snack,
turns on the film,
turns on the camera, and sends you little videos. I get about 20 videos a day sent to me. I get about 17 different species that I'm able to get at my place. So that's pretty exciting, and you can name them. And if the same bird comes back, it tells you.
How much does it cost?
It's the device is about $200.
Yeah.
And then you get seed, and it depends how often you feed them.
So for $250, you could do the whole thing.
The whole thing. It's fantastic.
I'm going to send that to all my grandchildren.
Let me tell you, it is a joy. I have two of them. I keep one of them for food specific for squirrels and chipmunks, and the other one for birds.
How do
My squirrels and chipmunks
you
are
just put up a little
adorable.
sign? Squirrels, arrow.
They
chipmunks
just,
this way.
no. Let me tell you,
So
watching
the birds
animals.
don't go after the.
Well, they do.
Is it different food? I
It
would
is
assume.
different food. Yeah, the squirrel food looks like dried pieces of corn and large seeds and some peanuts, and then the bird seed is much finer and it looks like bird seed. That said, the squirrels and the chipmunks will eat the bird seed, and every so often an ambitious bird will take on a peanut. I've got some great footage. I can't find it now, but maybe I'll send it to
Birds
Steven.
choking on a
Like,
whole
until
peanut.
you've seen a cardinal pick up a peanut and fly off with it.
You haven't lived.
I got blue jay, same thing. They pick up a peanut, they fly off with a
No,
peanut.
I'm going to get it from you. I'm going to send it to each of my grandchildren. That'd be a nice gift.
It is, and the setup.
probably
It
one.
takes
I don't
5
think-
minutes to set up. It's
One-
like
one-
pizza.
Yeah, like we don't need 3 of them.
No, one for a family.
You know, maybe we'll start there, and then maybe we'll branch out. We'll get another one for the squirrels, and I don't need a whole subdivision
and
of
then
bird
you,
feeders.
And
you
one
can
for
get
the-
a hummingbird
like Ed
one
has.
as
One for
well
the
with the
Bigfoot.
nectar.
You must have almost as much square footage in bird feeders as your own dwelling.
They may have more, and I fill up both of their things at least once a day, sometimes twice. You know, because they go through.
On a good day.
I am feeding a lot of birds, and I mean, you could. Sometimes I'll go out there, and I don't know, 20 birds will fly off, you know, and give me a little space so I can refill the feeders, and they know. They're like, big man's, you know, he's coming out with the peanuts.
The birds.
That's what they call you.
Yeah, the big
their
man.
birds are putting a little statue of him.
They should.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I've made their lives easier. They were probably foraging.
Any hummingbird feeders?
Now,
Do they make a version?
They do.
Yeah,
they do. They make a hummingbird feeder.
Do they
and
make a hummingbird?
My neighbor who lives directly above me, she says she gets hummingbirds all the time. I don't get any of them because I don't put out nectar.
You gotta put out nectar.
Well, I've been
He's gotta
told
have
though.
And I think there's seasons when
think
they.
you-
Yeah, they are.
You
And then
have to
now
have
is hummingbird.
limits.
Now is hummingbird season. But the problem is, I've been told that once you start feeding them, you got to take care of them till they die, because they're going to come to you all the time. Now my squirrels and chipmunks and birds, they're used to, you know, get it where they can. They're not going to rely on me. I mean, I went away for a week, and
So you're
by
saying-
day 3 they knocked those feeders over. I
know-
could see it on the video, and they were really pissed.
Have you seen these
So
people?
what'd you do about that?
When I came home, I picked them up and filled them.
But did they do it? Oh, when you didn't have enough food for
No,
them?
because I was gone for a week, so I couldn't refill it every day.
Have you seen people
2 days in, they
online-
were protesting.
And there was like a whole bunch of pile of dead birds.
That's it. Yeah,
Just
starving.
laying there.
They're all just starving.
Speaking of, in the Southwest terminal in Lambert, have you ever noticed that? When you go to Southwest on TSA pre or clear on that side, there's a big glass wall.
glass, yeah.
And they do not clean up the pigeons daily. If you get there when they, like just before they clean, it is unbelievable. There is a pigeon genocide.
Really?
Oh my God.
You mean dead-
On the ground.
Dead pigeons?
Yes.
Oh,
just
they run into the big
Yeah,
right
glass.
into
I
the
mean,
glass.
50 of them. You've never seen anything like it. It's horrible.
That's a stupid,
Anyway,
stupid
have you ever
animal.
seen people who will befriend squirrels? I don't know exactly how they do it, but
And then they marry them.
no, my cousin Ben does it. He's had a couple of them. They do something where they get raw peanuts and like they will
they
literally have a
train 'em?
squirrel that comes to them regularly. They'll eat out of their hand.
But did you ever hear anything about Chloe Cohen?
That you've always said this, and I don't know that there is any.
There is some myth, or maybe not a myth.
I think the myth
if you
is
get bitten
starts and
by
ends
a
with
squirrel,
you.
you get MS.
I don't even think that's the myth. I think
That's how it was explained to me.
I think the myth is that there is some
I like to
correlation
always sound everything off.
between
Yeah.
squirrel bites and at some point developing MS. I don't think it's a 1-to-1 correlation. I also think you're the only person with
Beware, people.
you and
Watch out for
Mom.
squirrels. Don't
It's
play
the first
them.
time I've ever heard about
Now,
this.
one thing I do know about MS that I have heard, and I've tried to actually send you in this direction as well, not for MS, is that
stem
the
cells?
stem cell treatments. Have you heard of this?
No.
So, for political reasons in this country, we have disallowed really the most beneficial lines of stem cells. And in other countries, they have not done that. And there are these institutes, I think Panama and Germany are some of the bigger places for it, where they have these stem cell treatments that are apparently life-changing for certain conditions. and one of them, a woman who, well, actually, I will, for simplicity's sake, a friend of a friend with MS goes down about once or twice a year and goes in a wheelchair and walks out, and it lasts her for about 7 or 8 months, and then she has to go back down again. But it's that life-changing.
But let's say you have MS, God forbid.
How can we not allow that here? That's crazy.
But let's assume you have that, and you are going to a doctor that treats MS. Don't you think the doctors at some point would say, Bill, listen, I can't do it, but if you went to Panama and did this treatment, it would pretty much, I mean, I would think a lot of them would do that.
What's the problem?
Well, the problem is this, because Steph has autoimmune issues, and she asks her doctors about it. And the problem is a couple of things. Number one, they're now directing you away from their facility. Number two, they are advising you on treatments that they don't really know or study because it's not legal in the U.S. And I think there are malpractice issues. I think their institutions disallow it.
You're not doing
and then
it.
here's the biggest issue.
Yeah.
The biggest issue is that it is very expensive, and 99% of their patients could never afford it.
I understand that, and that's a legitimate reason for the person not to do it. But I don't see any reason for the doctor who says, you know what, I treat MS and I'm limited by what I can do. I'm going to start reading. I'm going to go down there even.
It's still something very experimental, but here's the thing.
But I would think they would feel some Hippocratic responsibility to at least bring the subject up to
You're living in a
patient.
country, though, where people have cancer that is very curable.
Yeah.
And we have insurance companies say, nah, we're not going to pay for that treatment, and then they die.
No, but that's a different problem.
Well, it's a different problem, but it's a much simpler problem. If we have that, it's easy to believe that we have the other thing.
But all I'm saying,
Because their insurance companies probably say you can't recommend treatments like that aren't legal in the U.S.
Let's say you were a doctor and you treated MS and you knew that there was something, you've now studied it and say, you know, I think it's something you should try. There's no downside. Don't you think most doctors, I mean, listen, I've had trouble with
How do
doctors.
they study it, though? I mean, because a lot of it.
Either, well, the people must publish something.
Yeah, for sure.
And there must be some scientific documentation, and at least you're not going to, I can't do it for you.
Listen, I agree with you.
I can't recommend anybody.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is,
if
you can afford it, you ought to look into it. That's all.
I agree with
we're
you.
not 100% sure that they're not doing that.
No, we're not.
No, they're not.
I'm pretty sure we're not.
But across the board, not one of them would ever say on the slide,
I'm sure some of them do.
Head to, whatever.
But
Panama.
most of them aren't. Because I from personal experience.
Let me ask you this. I don't have MS, thank God. Anything else that I do have that maybe I can get cured overseas because our country won't let it do it because a bunch of lunatics?
Well, I don't know what all of your conditions are, but like I'm wondering if, for instance,
what did he say?
Hair loss.
Oh yeah, I know that in Turkey they're doing all sorts of transplants that apparently are pretty effective.
But like
what kind of transplant?
Hair transplants.
You have some back
I'm
pain?
guessing Elon Musk. I mean, whatever he did on his hair, because he was bald,
Do you believe, speaking of, you never mind.
and now he's got a pretty full head of hair. No, politics aside, I think we could agree that his hair looks very realistic for hair that's not real.
I don't think it was political, but it involved a political figure, so I don't even want to dip my toes in.
Was it a medicine
I'm not.
or a surgery?
For the hair?
Yeah.
Oh, I think surgery.
Yeah, and somebody told me, and again, no big sample size, that's extremely painful.
Yeah.
Well, I
Hair
think
transplant.
those. Yeah,
Now,
I
maybe
think,
not anymore. Huh?
Yeah, I think it used to be. It was like just a little circular, like scalpel, and it was boom, 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 hundreds of them on your head.
I believe.
Yeah.
For older people, I'm talking about 70 plus people, which you guys will get to someday.
If
Just
we're
around
lucky.
the corner.
If you have three things, you rise to like upper 5 or 10% of looks.
Give it to me.
A aquiline nose.
Don't know what that is.
It's a nose without this big ball.
Okay,
on it.
so strike one.
Sort of right. It's sort of a straight nose.
Yeah.
Your nose be okay.
No, for you.
Strike
one.
I'm telling. A nice head of hair
Strike two.
and slender. Strike three.
Yeah, but see,
now
you've just disproved
no,
your own
no,
theory
no,
because
no.
I don't think you're
Not
a nice-looking man.
No, but I'm just saying those are the exceptional.
Those will get you there.
Those are the top 5%ers.
Yeah.
And even the weight has a little give in it now because people as they get older do get a little heavier.
Right.
I'm just saying those three things put you at the very top.
Well, and the older you get, the fatter people around you get. Like, you know what's
true.
amazing? If you look at the fat boys and you compare them to today, they weren't even fat. One of them was.
Yeah, the fat boy.
The fat one was.
No,
But
you know
yeah,
what?
oh,
I
God, yeah.
happened to go to a restaurant and saw a guy who was like the greatest athlete around here.
Yeah. Morbidly obese.
No, just look, a shrunken little raisin. I mean, it was really sad. This guy was
Well, let's try to end on a happy note.
There you go.
How about that
Shrunken
delicious
raisins.
sauce from Oklahoma Joe's, Kansas City? Fill
Listen,
up your tank,
I don't
fill
really
up your
know
belly.
who this is for. Is there anybody in Kansas City that hasn't been to Joe's, that doesn't know Joe's and isn't intimately familiar with Joe's?
No, but we got people listening from all over the country, and we've got people from
All over
St.
the world.
Louis, all over the world.
All over the world.
And when they visit Kansas City,
you got to have balls.
no, we
to
don't
go
say
to
that. This is a family show.
To go to a Kansas City, the hub of barbecue in the United States, that in Memphis,
Yeah.
and call yourself
Well, let's
Oklahoma
see.
Joe's. That's a guy with confidence.
What's interesting is on the jar, they just say Joe's, because I think most people just call them Joe's. In my memory, their full official name was Oklahoma Joe's.
Actually, maybe we made up the Oklahoma part.
That's possible. I mean, the more Terry keeps saying it, the
Oh,
more
wait
it
a
starts
second.
sounding
You
like
think
it
we
doesn't
made
make
it up?
sense.
Maybe we went to the wrong store.
Yeah, but
Oklahoma Joe's, Kansas City.
Oh my
yeah,
God!
it is Oklahoma Joe's.
No,
right?
I'm googling
Oh,
it
Jesus.
to see. No,
All right, wait. Let's do the
so
whole episode
maybe-
over again.
maybe
Let's go
Joe-
make sandwiches.
Maybe Joe doesn't have the balls that I thought. Never mind, Joe.
Is
I'm
Joe's
Joe's
sorry.
Kansas City barbecue the same as Oklahoma Joe's? Oh, formerly known as Oklahoma Joe's.
Hey, see, I'm old school.
I wonder. I
There we
wonder
go.
why that coward gave up the
He
Oklahoma.
castrated. He had balls and he cut
We
them
were
off.
going
Maybe he
broke.
barbecued them.
Everybody thought, why would in Oklahoma? Why would we're in Kansas City? Why would a guy?
Right.
Well,
finally got
I think
rid
we've
of
said it all.
We've said it. Quite frankly, we said it all, and then we tried to come up with some other stuff.
and
We
then
said it all.
some.
We ate it all.
And
we
then
were pretty
some.
empty.
All right,
What is
I think
that
it's
on
time
your
to go.
eyes? Is that Vaseline or is that like
It's
a
a
bacitracin?
medication.
Ointment.
Remember, he had
Ointment.
a surgery on his eyes, not the $2,500 one to see. He could see, but
It was a $60.
You wanted to see a little bit better.
that's right.
You do not look Caucasian. I'm just going to leave it there.
It looks more like Aquaman with the water in his eyes, just emerged from the ocean.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe when you go to an eye doctor and it's called Eyes and Stuff.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
God,
know?
yeah. This may be one of those episodes you'd rather just listen to
No, I
rather than
had the
watch.
finest eye doctor. I got
Eyes and
Can I
feet.
give him a shout out?
Yeah, sure. Give the doctor
Yeah,
a shout
sure.
out.
Philip Custer.
Well, do you want to do that
Custard?
before you're fully healed?
Custer? No, I'm fine.
Like
Okay.
custard?
Aren't I? I'm fine, aren't I? No, he's a great guy. Couldn't have been nicer at Washington U. If you ever need eye surgery, go to Dr.
might.
Philip
There
you go.
Custer.
All right.
I'll
Great
probably
man.
need that at some point. I got the heavy lids.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a wrap.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, Saga.